first leg, so the round of 16 matches from the UEFA Champions League. Manchester United 0, PSG 2, Roma 2, Porto 1. Ruud Gullit, Marcel Desailly and Peter Schmeichel are here with me. Ruud, how good then do you think PSG were?
I enjoyed it. Already first half, when in the beginning when Man United tried to press them, they played around it very easily. Verratti was very vital in that. Marquinhos was doing their job. The good thing, Drexler and Di Maria also dropping into these midfield areas, and they couldn't cope with it. And they kept the ball. It was even a moment in the 60th minute or something. It was almost embarrassing how they kept the ball well, scored some good goals. And I felt a little bit for Man United because the vibe was very, very good. But they couldn't do it today. They played against a good side, and I think that Marcel already predicted a different,
don't go there.
a different Paris Saint-Germain without their main stars. Yeah.
We have the sensibility of the Premier League, and what happened to United? They've been doing well for 10 games. But it was Premier League games, where you go forward, you have that spirit that brings you every time to go forward. So when the opponents start to go forward without stability, in the midfield or defensively, then United was taking all the time advantage of the situation. Now we are dealing with Champions League, guys. You know what is it?
Yep.
It's different culture of football. It's different type of players that you are dealing with. So suddenly now PSG have shown real stability to be able to play, have the possession of the ball, going forward, but at the same time, knowing how Manchester was good, taking the ball back in contre-attack. So they were ready for it. So they've been able to compete on both sides, attacking and defending. So this have, killed United ability and possibility. Marquinhos and Pogba, no any other players that have shown up at United to host and hold the ball to be able to play for United. So finish, Sanchez, you've come on, did not say anything. Mata, same thing.
I mean, you said, Peter, that this would be Manchester United's sternest test. It clearly was.
It was a big test, and we still have to remember that this is a team that was struggling in the group phase. It's the same players. Obviously, someone else is talking to them, setting up the team, deciding on the tactics, but it's still the same players. And today, when it came to it, every single player, apart from Matic, I agree with that, just came up a little bit short. I thought, again, I said this before the break, that Paris Saint-Germain they were excellent today. They played Manchester United in the correct way. I know you said it was the biggest defeat at home.
Night for him. And, you're looking for him maybe to be a leader on nights like this, and he wasn't at the races.
They showed a lot of immaturity. Shaw got booked as well towards the end. They showed a lot of immaturity. They kind of lost the
plot a bit.
Yeah, they have, and this is certainly not something you want to see. This is a team that's on a roll now. They're losing one game. They've been outplayed today, and that's something I don't like to see in teams because it actually shows mentally how far behind they are. A very sophisticated and developed side of Paris.
I heard comments made in the run-up to this game about this 11-game unbeaten run that Solskjaer had led Manchester United on. And a couple of people said, oh, well, look, you've got to see what Manchester United, how they react when they lose a game. Now, I don't know the pros and cons of that, but the hierarchy in Man United are now going to see how this team will react to that tonight. Now, they've Chelsea in the Cup of the weekend. Second leg of this, then the Liverpool game. There's some massive matches coming up. How do you think this group and the manager will react?
Well, it's their first real tests, and even then, you go back to the Spurs game when they won 1-0. Spurs dominated them for most of the game. And I think people are diving in saying he has the job, or hearing whispers that he's got the job. Like I said at the top of the show, March 17th, when they've played 5 or 6 big dogs. And tonight, I thought it was men against boys. I don't think the quality, this is the squad he's inherited, so that's nothing to do with Solskjaer. But even the setup of the team, he could never, all night they just struggled with Paris Saint-Germain's formation. So yeah, he's a great manager. Is he a great coach? Remains to be seen.
Mourinho's got a lot to answer for, hasn't he? Most of those players were his signings.
Well,
You know.
good for you. They're going to have to clear
Well,
them out.
Lindelhoff, the two centre-backs for a start, Dara, we all knew, we said before the game, that was for Manchester United, whether they could cope with Mbappe, and they couldn't. And Mourinho brought those to the club.
They all own a lot of
And
money.
Matic and Herrera and Pogba, that was all Mourinho.
It'll be hard to get him out.
Okay, well, they have work to do over the next couple of weeks before they can start planning for next season with Solskjaer, without Solskjaer, who knows. But Manchester, uphill task when they go to Paris in 3 weeks' time. That's it. That's it from us for the moment. But thanks to Didi, to Liam and to Damien for their company here in studio. Remember, we will be continuing the football discussion on Facebook Live. It's coming up right after this. But coming up next on RTE2, it's the class of 92 out of their league. From everybody here, good night.
Paris Saint-Germain, because they were not used to have that tactical setup with these new players, you know, in that position, having Mbappe at front, having Di Maria, who has been moving all over.
So you think that their tactic was more based on, okay, stay compact, stay together, and then try to do the counter-attack. But in the beginning, they were pressing higher.
Quite high.
Also,
That could have been a clever move to stop Man United from pressing high as well.
Yeah.
Because they straight away, they
Yeah.
went down, and once they did that, they had so much more of the ball, PSG, and it became then a keep ball session for them. But, you know, it is, I mean, it's hard to take, as a Man United fan, it really is hard to take this defeat and these kind of defeats. But I also have to think about the progression of the football club. So we've been through a period where, you know, I won't say in Europe this was the norm, but some of these results actually popped up in the Premier League and the performances were not great. So we still have to remember they are the same players, and there's only so much the coach can do. You know, there's only so much. Now, it is a big, I said this, it's a big test for Ole. How is he going to prepare his team for Chelsea on Saturday? And how is he going to do that? And this is where, you know, judgment will come. In the 10, 11 games, people have said, give Ole the job, he's done well. I'm all for that. I think he's a fantastic guy to have in there. But we also need to see in adversity what's going to happen. We saw a little sniff of it when they played Burnley and they were 2-0 down and they came back. That was really good and a very important moment. But this game, in the broader perspective of Manchester United's short-term history, was a very important game. And this defeat can, in many ways, help the club and the manager to put things in the right boxes.
But now he's got to do it, maybe without Lingard and maybe without Martial. So his options are getting more limited as well, and that makes it more difficult.
Sanchez, Mata, you have very good, substitute players. But what I want to say is that what was the problem on the Mourinho, still there. It's still there. They had, 10 amazing games, but it's still there. We talk about the defensive, the lack of, leaders. It's still there. So today it has shown up on Champions League. Like he said, Solskjaer and the player have to find back, that motivation to prove that
Peter is right.
They are a great club.
Now they're going to figure out what they need for the next season.
But, I don't think anyone... Yeah, you can get carried away because you're a fan. You're allowed to be carried away with 10 wins in 11 games. You can, but in the broader perspective, we already know Mourinho was fighting to get a centre half or even two in the summer. He was doing that because there is a problem in centre half or in central defence.
David Moyes was looking for centre halves. He always said, and I scoured the world, he said, and I couldn't find one.
There are a few guys out there who can do the job, but that problem hasn't gone away. And this is what we're talking about. That was exploited today. I mean, they've at times
you need one good defender and one who can play football. Okay, that's what you need.
Point. So
and then you have a right balance.
We have identified what was needed. Yes. Same for Chelsea. When they lose against
Chelsea's another one.
City, you have identified that you have a problem at your back four. Where you have to rectify. This is what the top level game give you as an indication.
Well, Arsene Wenger has been with us in our Arabic studio tonight. He's given his verdict on where it all went wrong for Manchester United.
In the Champions League is an important thing. is that you cannot be dominated in midfield. And the whole evening, Man United was dominated in midfield. Paris Saint-Germain played with 5 midfielders, and they never lost the ball. Manchester United could never win the ball back, and when they had the ball, they lost it very quickly because Paris Saint-Germain dominated the midfield to win the ball back. And they lost the battle there in midfield. And that's when you play at home and you cannot keep the ball, you're always in trouble. And that's what happened today. Man United looked very poor in midfield compared to the class of Paris Saint-Germain. And basically, it was a little advantage for Paris Saint-Germain to play with 5 midfielders tonight and with less offensive players.
OK, let's head back to Old Trafford, get reaction. Matt Critchley is with Nemanja Matic.
Nemanja, clearly a disappointing night. Where do you think it went wrong for Manchester United this evening?
Of course, that we are not happy, but I have to say that I'm proud of my team. We played some good football, we created some chances, but we had small details where we need to improve and where the big teams used, like they used today, these chances. And yeah, as I said, in this kind of games, you need to play a perfect game to win. Obviously we could do better, but I think that our team is improving game by game, and we show also tonight some great football, but was not enough because they also have quality and we have to give credit to them.
Do you think losing Jesse Lingard and Anthony Martial had a big effect on the team?
Yeah, of course, they are very important for us, very fast players. For what we are playing, they are very important. But Alexis and Juan, they substitute them, they play a good game. But as I said, in some small details, we have to improve, to have more experience in this kind of games. And yeah, we go to Paris, we will give our best to win. In football everything is possible, so we have nothing to lose.
You've had some very good results since the new manager arrived. Were Paris Saint-Germain a different level altogether tonight?
Of course, they have a great team, but we also had great results in Premier League, in FA Cup. As you know, we played also against Arsenal, Tottenham, so we won that games. But of course, that Paris is great. They use the chances that they had, and as I said, we have to give credit to them. But if we use our chances in first half, the game could go in a different way.
Nemanja, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.